Okay, I think we should start. The worst thing that can happen at the conference is that the schedule gets disrupted from the onset. Hello everyone, my name is Sasha Pavlovic and it is my utmost honor and pleasure to welcome you all here on behalf of the Institute for Philosophy and Social Theory. Now the relation between the Institute and education is anything but straightforward. And one could even argue that this institute was founded precisely to prevent education. So let me briefly tell you this story. In 1968, a huge student protest affected Belgrade University and what was then Yugoslavia. And while students protested in most of Europe and worldwide as well, at the time this was a particular blow for the Communist Party of Yugoslavia, because it was believed that in socialism and in communism, workers and people would not protest. Who would they protest to? They owned everything, so they could only protest against themselves. So this was the first big protest in Yugoslavia. It was supported, students were supported by a serious number of figures. Even some old communist revolutionaries, partisans from World War II supported them. So it was a serious blow for the Communist Party of Yugoslavia at the time. And now, like in any standard story, you need to find a culprit. And the communist officials named 8 professors from Faculty of Philosophy as those who inspired and instigated the rebellion, and sort of accused them of spoiling the youth, like the Socrates. So their sentence was to be expelled from the university, so to be deprived of teaching. Now the problem is that in the socialist Yugoslavia, being formally the worker state and everything, it was damn difficult to sack anyone. So the League of Communists, they sort of fell victims to their own doing. Laws and the state they founded almost prevented them from sacking anyone. And after years of legal conundrums and even some constitutional changes, they eventually managed to expel 8 professors from the University of Belgrade. They were then unemployed for several years, but things were not as easy. The professors also fought back. They used means that they had on their disposal. This is the syndicate, some faculty and university bodies, and they also had quite a lot of international recognition, because this became really like a huge stain on the face of socialist Yugoslavia, because the country believed or wanted to present itself as being pretty open, free, socialist. So this was kind of a problem for them. Anyway, after years and years,
recording in progress.
Yeah. This is my favorite post-human, person. So after years and years, finally they were, let's say, moved to the center, now Institute for Philosophy and Social Theory, which was founded in 1981. And by moving them to these dusky offices, the communist officials hoped to silence and marginalize them. And I know that now when most of us in academia, we all have like a huge workload, we teach many modules, we are forced to publish or perish. It looks a bit odd that, at the time, these professors was actually protesting, we don't want to do just research, we want to teach, we want to do the education. So it's perhaps a bit counterintuitive. So all in all, it did not really play out as the communist officials were planning. After all these years, the institute still exists. It's still vocal. It's still loud. and the League of Communists disappeared, decades ago. So, have it. Meanwhile, all but one of the founding fathers and mothers died, and now new and young generation of researchers is working here, but they somehow still stubbornly ask, the same issue of education. And this is particularly case with EduLab, a group of researchers, most of whom are actually younger than the institute, so because they were born after 1981. But their main interest still lies in the issue of education from both practical and theoretical perspective. And knowing their energy, dedication, and theoretical vigor, I am pretty safe that the issue of education will remain one of the focal points of this institute. And with that, I pass on to the real culprits, for this conference, and that is EduLab and their coordinator, Ivan Išević.
Thank you, Sasha. It's very hard to speak after Sasha. We here know that very well. So, good afternoon, everybody. I'm thrilled to see you all here in Belgrade at the Institute for Philosophy and Social Theory. My name is Ivan Išević, and I am the coordinator of EduLab, or Laboratory for Educational Strategies. It's my great pleasure to welcome you all to our third international conference, Why Still Education? EduLab brings together an interdisciplinary oriented group of researchers who critically engage in various forms of education and its history, as well as their philosophical underpinnings. Our research interests are both theoretical and practical nature, as we explore the origins and development of theoretical concepts of education and the ways they are implemented in the contemporary educational policies and strategies. This is the third time that we are asking the question, why still education? In the first conference back in 2014, we focused on the history and theories of education, education in transition, and on the role of the teacher on the stage. The topic of the second conference held in 2020 was emancipation and/or education, challenges and frictions. It aimed at shedding light on a curious relation between emancipation and education. Does education emancipate us, or on the contrary, education actually consolidates traditional, outdated values? The topic of this year's conference is humanism, posthumanism, and anti-humanism, educational perspectives, employing theoretical discussions that announce or predict that we have already or we are about to pass on from human to post-human condition. We hope to spur a vibrant debate on the consequences and implications of this post-human shift on our notions, practices, and role of education. In order to shed light on these contemporary issues and challenges, we shall make an effort to respond to, or at very last, clarify questions such as: has the world changed dramatically, or is it our image of the world that has changed? When we talked about the changed world, we are talking about the human condition or image of humanity, or both. Are we already living in the post-human age or in the age of post-humanist thinking? And what impact does the post-human paradigm have on educational theory and practice? Once again, I would like to thank you all for coming here to give a contribution to our third international conference, Why Still Education? I really hope you will enjoy it and find it engaging and inspiring. At the very start of the conference, we will first see a pre-recorded lecture of Rosie Braidotti, who will later join us for a discussion. And this discussion will be moderated by Kay Sidebottom. So, Kay, please join us here. The floor is yours. Thank you once again.